Oh. Good evening, Patty. Good evening, Michael.
Hi, Diane. Is my
Hey.
voice on?
Yeah, you're on. Very well.
How are you tonight?
I'm tired. How about you? I had an early day.
Hi, Patty.
Mhm.
You guys ever nap, Diane?
I keep thinking I'm going to do that, but then I don't do it.
We don't. I think we're quite a bit older, or at least I am. But
You're over napping, or you don't?
well, I just depend on it. you
Oh, well,
know,
that's good.
we stay up
That's
way too late, though. We just, we get our second wind and then end up
yeah,
napping. And oh
yeah,
well.
yeah. I definitely know that one. So I'm trying to um change my change my ways. Get up
Yeah.
earlier and go to bed earlier. Yeah.
Hi, Diane.
How you doing? Is that Ernie?
It is. I'm on another
I,
computer.
All
Ernie, I was
right.
gonna say I don't think I know you, but you're Ernie, but not Wayne.
Yeah, I recognize your voice.
I'm
I
like,
love where you are. It's beautiful.
what?
I said I love where you are.
Oh, I'd love to be where I am.
Yeah, it's
Having,
very. It looks like the Caribbean somewhere. Somewhere in the tropics for sure.
I'll take a guess because
Mm.
since I'm on this computer, it kind of keeps changing some of the background a little bit.
Oh, well, that's fun. I don't know how to do that.
I don't know how to do it either.
But the
Ernestine,
water.
Yes.
Huh?
I was gonna. Last week you were talking about how you were using your phone and it was hard holding it.
Oh,
I was thinking about some things. They make these little. The trouble is I don't go to stores now, but
exactly.
they could probably get it online. But they make these little cushion things that you can put a tablet or a phone on to
It
like that.
stands.
I have a dinosaur that I put my. I can. The dinosaur's
Oh,
mouth opens and then I can put my phone
yeah,
in
because
in
I
its.
have to have a backup with all my computer tech skills, and at least my phone will usually work. But the
Mm,
horrible part too is it doesn't show many people at all.
Oh,
yeah.
So, and even when we're doing the readings,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't show all of the reading. And
Oh,
so it's fun, challenging.
it's kind of nice to see everyone though. Good
Yeah,
evening, Caroline.
those letters are so little on the
Hey.
phone for me.
and yeah, can't read anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um,
So everybody's having a good week, or
so far, so good.
are pressing in, regardless whether it's good or not so good. Pressing in.
Yes,
Was there rain down where you are, Ernestine, or up where you are,
yes,
Diane?
it rained up until about maybe 2 hours ago.
Pretty good rain or just drizzle?
It was more than a drizzle, but it wasn't hard rain.
We
And
got enough
wind,
to
and
just
wind,
dirty your car.
yeah, and wind with the rain.
Yeah, it was very windy here today. Very
Now,
windy.
today's one of the few days we didn't have a lot of wind.
But
Huh.
it was cold. It was really cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cold here.
Cold but no rain. I mean, cold,
Well, we had
cold
a
but no
little
wind.
drizzle, but then I think later it just got really cold. And I
Yeah.
usually the coat I have on, I always just leave it in my car because
Yes,
otherwise you'll get
just
caught
in
without
case.
anything.
Wait, a coat with a hood.
Hmm. Yeah. So this was my lesson learned. We were flying from somewhere, and I think we had been in Costa Rica, which was very warm. And then
Oh,
coming back to California, we got caught in the airport, and it was very cold.
Oh no.
Oh,
So I bought a coat. So that's how I ended up. This is my travel coat that you kind of just keep in
I
the
was in
car.
I was in Canada once and I was freezing. I had to go buy me something too. So that's hard. Yeah.
Yeah, and very expensive. A very hard, expensive lesson.
the coldest place I have ever been, and I've only been there once, was London. And it was so cold,
Mhm.
I felt like the cold was inside my bones. It was so cold.
Well,
Mm.
I lived in London in the 80s, and yeah, it was brutal because it's not a city that really ever sort of really prioritized effective heating or anything.
Oh,
So
It's
really?
wet and it's wet a lot.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
cold, it's damp.
And so it is kind of cold in London.
Um, yeah, when you get a good solid winter, it's really
Mm.
it's
But it
It's pretty
unpleasant.
doesn't snow
foggy.
there, does it?
It has been. Well, it's interesting. I don't know if you've seen the articles about how the Gulf Stream's changing, and what
Oh,
one of the effects of that is that we're starting to get, we're on the same as Maine,
oh, the parallel.
and now we're starting to get the same weather, which is scary. It's really
Mm.
going to be disruptive. So we're this winter we had I don't live there anymore, but they had tons and tons of snow, and it was really cold, which is
I was
unusual.
I was cold in Pennsylvania for 4 years. It seemed like I
Well, it
could
sounds
never
like a
get
cold
warm.
place. Mm.
Yeah.
Everybody but me is frozen. Ah,
There you go.
That would be a coincidence.
you know what's strange? I just got a thing saying our internet is unstable. And I've spent hours and hours installing this internet booster, the Wi-Fi booster.
Mm.
Oh no.
And I think Linnea just got bumped off.
Oh no!
Yeah, she's not
Good
there.
evening, Tanya.
Good
Patty,
evening. How are you guys?
Shella. See, Shella's here.
Good
Yeah, doing good.
evening. Hi.
Linnea's back on. Yay! She didn't get bumped off.
Just for the record, if anybody ever has a chance to get an Ethernet cable, they're not expensive, and you can just connect your computer directly to the modem. You can get, however big your space is. I mean, you can get one that's 12 feet or 60 feet. And that way it doesn't have the interruptions that Wi-Fi can have sometimes.
Mhm.
Oh,
Wow.
Our
Okay.
modem is
I
in
think
such,
we
I
have
gotta get a
one.
computer.
Okay.
well, our modem's in a weird place, Linnea. It's at that far
Yeah, I
wall.
know.
So-
I know.
Well, I
60
have
foot.
a like a 50-foot cable that I'm not using because yeah.
Well,
Mhm.
I can just visualize this running through the house.
Oh yeah.
I know the wires
Tempting,
all
but
over.
Is that about as long as they come, Pastor?
No, they actually have some that are longer.
Oh, wow.
The one I'm using now is about 20 feet long, 25, I think. But we moved our computer from a different spot that didn't require us to go as far into the house.
So is the Ethernet cable independent of Wi-Fi?
Yeah, it goes directly to your modem and doesn't. Your Wi-Fi is a wireless signal, which can be great, but it can be not as reliable. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, my computer froze on Sunday.
Yeah, I remember that.
There wasn't anything I could do that I knew to do.
Right.
And so I said, oh, well, it's one thing after another.
I like your background, Renee. It's pretty.
I know we all want to go there.
It's Wayne's background.
Oh, it's Wayne's World?
Boo.
This is the third computer I'm trying. We'll see what happens.
Well,
Stella, you're wearing a cool hat again tonight. I like it.
I know. I have to keep the hat thing going, you know.
We
I
know.
Especially on bad hair days. That's how you do it.
Is it pretty cold in Ventura County? It's pretty cold up here in Orcutt.
It's pretty cold.
Yeah, good day for that hat.
Even though I'm inside, it's still a good day.
We've noticed the nights here, 9 and 10 at night, are really getting cold a lot.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Time to cover the citrus trees. It's supposed to be like 37 here tomorrow, so we're watching it.
Oh.
Ooh, that's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you get rain, Ernie? Did you guys get rain there?
We did. Michael was asking me that early.
Oh.
It was almost all day, but it
Oh,
wasn't a hard rain, but it was wind with it.
Anybody getting your shots yet? Your vaccinations?
Well, we're waiting for number 2. We got 2 more weeks.
Mm.
Now, which one is that?
It's Moderna. That's
Okay.
that's pretty much all they were giving out down here, I think. But lots of varied friends are starting to get theirs now.
Mhm.
And my daughter, who's a teacher, finally qualified, so she got hers.
Oh, good.
Good.
And she's still nursing our little grandson. And I thought that they said not to. So anyway, she talked to her pediatrician and her OBGYN, and they both said, no, get it.
Well,
Probably-
yeah,
Probably be
Good for the baby.
whatever. Yeah.
you hope
So.
so. Yeah.
Well, momentarily, we're going to hear from Ana Rosa, and tonight's going to be kind of interactive. In fact, I think she already put the, there's a link there, Google Doc, I think, for everybody. And, but first of all, let's pray.
Mhm.
We unite our hearts, each of our hearts, our own hearts, as we read in the Psalms. It says, "Unite my heart, give me an undivided heart." And so we don't want to be in conflict with ourselves, and also not among ourselves. We ask that you help us to have a single heart, a heart that is compassionate and understanding. And as the prayer says, willing to be more willing to understand than to be understood. Open our hearts up to vistas that will cause us to grow. And we pray your blessing on Ana Rosa for the gift that she gives us all the time, and especially tonight. May every person here find inspiration on this precious Wednesday evening. Amen. All right. So, have you
May
done
I
this
ask a
before?
question? There's a link. Is that for tonight?
That's for tonight.
So how do we do that if we're already on the computer?
Okay. Do you see the text, the blue text?
Mhm.
You click on that.
Wait. Where is the blue text?
Okay.
In the chat.
Can you know how to
Oh.
find chat?
I think Shell showed me once, but I was trying to use it.
Okay. So at the bottom
okay.
of your screen,
I see
there,
chat.
yeah, you select chat, and then
Click on it.
yeah,
Okay, and then click on it over there.
yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't totally left out.
So everybody go ahead and Ana Rosa, should everybody go ahead and do that now?
Yeah, that'd be great. Because this is how we kind of track data as far as what people understand of the Green New Deal coming into this meeting, and then
Okay, you do.
how these house meetings impact your conception of what the Green New Deal is and where we go from here for creating one for Ventura County. So
Okay.
this part is actually really important. So if you all can just let me know when you're done filling it out, and we can get started. Thank you all for being here. Also, do I have the ability to share my screen, Pastor?
He's asking you to do something about sharing the screen.
Okay, so what's your best friend's name? First name?
Madeline.
Birthday 12/11. Okay.
Caroline must be done because you're knitting.
It was only a page, right? Like just a few questions. Or did I miss stuff?
Yeah.
I got it all.
Linnea, is that your great green beans shake?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty gross looking, but it's good.
You're
Green
just
bean shake.
you're just showing off.
Tastes like a popsicle or a milkshake.
Oh, wow.
Yum.
Does it really have green beans in it?
Yes,
Mhm.
and green peas and carrots and beets and, you know, like protein powder.
So that
And-
sounds more like soup.
Well, it's like,
but it was cold.
yeah,
Sounds good.
it's like a milkshake, you know, it's that consistency.
Oh,
Do
nice.
you use water or do you use dairy?
Soy milk. I don't do
Soy
dairy
milk.
anymore. So
Okay.
soy or coconut and a little bit of aloe vera juice,
Oh, that's so good.
green tangerines.
No, I could do tangerines, but I like green beans too.
It just doesn't taste like vegetables when you put them all together. It just
Yeah,
blends.
I'm thinking the carrots would sweeten up everything.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they do.
And the peas, those
Mhm.
summer peas, is it? They're sweet, really sweet.
Yeah, or petite baby or
Mhm.
whatever they call them. Peas.
I'm really generous. Whenever she wants, she can have my shake too.
I wondered if you were in on it, Mike. I don't see your
She
shake.
shames me into taking them sometimes, but
Well, I think I'd end up putting like sherbet in mine.
huh.
Green beans and everything with lime sherbet.
Oh, that sounds so good.
Oh, that sounds good.
Well, he says there's too much air in it for his
Mm.
stomach, you know,
Mm.
but
Really, it does. It bloats me. So.
Okay.
well, I got a Vitamix because it was supposed to take that problem away, but it makes it real fine and creamy rather than the way my old processor made it for blender.
Do you add ice?
Nope, because the vegetables I use are frozen. So if I
And
were
we don't-
using fresh, then I'd use ice.
We don't have a very big freezer in our refrigerator, and it was always a problem. So that ice maker thing, I just disconnected. It was just causing too much trouble. You know, in Sataquai, the water is really pretty bad.
Mm.
And, you know, I mean, a lot of minerals they plug up. We've lived here 5.5 years, and we always do the dishes by hand because it's just the dishwasher. You know, I guess it was a decent dishwasher, but you just get this big mineral film all the time. So, you know,
Sounds like Goleta water.
Pretty much
Oh,
Southern
no.
California.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's not water.
but then, you know, when I think of those people in Flint and other places, oh,
Yeah.
you know, I read that there's still lots of places in Flint where they have to use the bottled water to try to bathe the kids and everything.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's just obscene, you know. The government should have been all over that.
Yep. It shouldn't be here.
That's actually a good segue into this conversation. Is everyone done with the pre-meeting survey? Okay, great. So I'm going to share my screen. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
Everyone see that?
Not yet.
No.
Not yet.
Mm-mm.
Shella, you look pretty. Oh, thank you.
Now can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, great. So thank you all for joining in. In case you all haven't heard of the Green New Deal, it's a federal framework for moving into a new economy that is based on giving back to the earth instead of extracting always from the earth. And for some politicians, it's, really sexy and they want, to claim credit for it. And for other politicians, it's like the worst thing on earth and they want to do everything to get away from it. But for us, we want to make sure that this process is actually grounded in the community and what community sees as being necessary to improve their communities. So we want to work with our networks in order to ensure a just transition through the Green New Deal. And when we first started this house meeting campaign, the meetings were actually happening in homes, but then COVID hit. So we had to transition from having the house meetings in people's homes to having them, via Zoom. And, as we were all being impacted by the pandemic, there was also a campaign being launched for Black Lives to Matter. And actually, when we first launched this campaign online, it was the birthday of Breonna Taylor, who was shot 8 times in her own home. And we must remember to stand up for Black women who often get left out of the discussion because, as George Floyd was killed and many Black men have been killed, so have many. And here in Ventura County, Megan Hockaday, who was an Oxnard resident, was killed within 20 seconds of the police breaking into her own home with her 3 daughters in her house. So due to these inhumane killings of Black people, we wanted to make sure to integrate the Black Lives Matter campaign into the campaign for a Green New Deal as well. Because we know that we can't win any of these issues on our own when we have to be intersectional in the way that we organize. So this is just an example of what folks have been working on in Santa Barbara. And even though I'm from where I live in Ventura County, I'm a resident of Oxnard. I'm not as familiar with the Black Lives Matter demands in Ventura County, but would really like to uplift those too as part of our Green New Deal campaign in Ventura County. So in Santa Barbara, the demands were around the city council adopting a resolution condemning police brutality and declaring racism a public health emergency. Also transparency and accountability from the Santa Barbara Police Department. No more community conversation without changes to policy and practices. No more internal investigations of misconduct. Creating a civilian review board with members selected by the community, which is actually being done right now. That process has begun. So that demand has started to be met. Prioritizing mental health services and rehabilitation. And also there are demands around transparency and accountability from the Santa Barbara County Sheriff. So updating the use of force policy to center de-escalation, no isolation or quarantine for inmates, attending court or contacting their lawyers, reducing jail admissions by redirecting people to community-based mental health and substance abuse treatment services. We demand the protection and preservation of Black landmarks rather than monuments to white supremacy. For example, St. Paul AME, Friendship Baptist Church, and Franklin Neighborhood Center have been symbols for Black unity and peace. Prioritizing the restoration of these spaces and naming their Black creators. demanding institutional support for an annual Juneteenth Emancipation Day celebration. So a city and county commitment to allocate funds for this annual celebration of Black emancipation and liberation. And my understanding is that at least for this year, that is happening. So that demand has also been met. So as far as discussion questions, would like to ask you all to share something about powerful conversations you've been having surrounding issues of Black liberation. And I'll just read them all because we can start with whichever question you all want to address first. What are some important Black lessons the Black Lives Matter movement has taught you? This can be through rallies, social media posts, conversations, etc. How has COVID impacted you? Do you have any tips that have helped you work virtually? And is anyone new to organizing, and what influenced you to get active? And I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a little bit so I can look at you all.
I have a comment concerning probably Black Lives Matter in the sense of the number of people that I know that are non-Black that have come up to me. And these are people that I've been close to, even went to school with, had no idea. And with all the technology that we have now and moving forward, things are no better than they were back in the 60s, the 50s, whatever, well, forever. But just the fact that when my family moved in to Whittier in 1954, we were harassed. My brothers were taken to the police several times. And the people going to school with us never knowing that. I was driven to school in a police car for 2 weeks. And people never knowing that, but these are people that I do think cared. And how society has been so good or in separating us through our schools. We separate ourselves through our churches, our neighborhoods. And so we're not living each other's lives. And so that's why I think ignorance prevails as long as it does. And I think some of our changes are going to come because of things like Jesus Collective, young people becoming more involved because those doors are opening for them. It's a comment.
Any reactions to her comment?
Yeah, it's a good observation. Segregation has so effectively throughout history, so effectively separated us that, like I was telling Dr. Moore one time, I can't find any Black people anymore. There used to be lots of them in the school I was teaching in, and there weren't, towards the end. And I don't see them, in the supermarket. So that's one of the reasons we're here is it seems like a lot of people in the white church just are hoping and waiting for Black people to come to them, and that's not going to happen.
Linnea, didn't extreme decline in your own Black student population, wasn't that because of fear that and it was justifiable fear?
Yeah.
There
Well, that
was,
was a huge part of it, as far as I know.
you know, this is supposed to be the liberal Southern California coast. And these kids were being intimidated and
Yeah, they were well, like I had one student and she was so angry, and she had to come walk her, and she was late all the time. She had to walk her little sister to school because there was a lot of, threats going on at the time, and a lot of conflict between the black and brown communities. And so they were threatening to kill her little sister. And a couple of us talked to the principal several times, wrote letters, and basically his stance, he thought, had to be that they're responsible for safety on campus, but can't do anything about the neighborhood. So
I'm not sure which principal that was, but also in her school, she had 5 principals in one 6-year period. Well, you know, talk about evading responsibility. It seems almost like and also when I say the district, and yet I was a district level administrator too, but it seemed to me like the district, you know, those things where they have the shell, the P or something's underneath the thimbles and they move them around in a kind of a con game. That's to me, I think what I saw a lot of in terms of the leadership of the district not taking responsibility for protecting all kids all the time.
Well, the question around the liberal Central Coast, how did we get that reputation? Is it earned? Because I just know as a woman of color, I have never felt welcome, especially not like in Santa Barbara. Definitely always felt like when I was speaking Spanish, I would get dirty looks. So where did that come from? Is it just because of like the Bank of America burning at UCSB, and then we've been living off of that since then? Or because seriously, like there's such demonization of houseless communities in this area too. And I don't see this area as liberal the way that it's talked about.
by this area, you mean Santa Barbara?
No, like the whole Central Coast. Where does that liberal reputation come from?
Well, that's pumped up pretty big by the far right, and compared to them, yeah, we're liberal, but there's a lot of really conservative. There's a big conservative base.
And if we generally, I think we all generally accept that probably the Democratic Party is more liberal or progressive than the Republican Party. I know people might pick that apart, but if that's just the indicator, then we don't deserve the reputation. Until Julia Brownley was elected as the congressperson, and I think she's a very moderate centrist Democrat, okay? But until she was elected, I've lived in Ventura County since 1968, and she was the very first Democrat to represent me in Congress, the very first.
Well, I live in Orcutt, and it is definitely conservative. I mean, you know, people driving around with the, you know, recall Newsom and, you know, but then, yeah, and then that is hard. That is hard because it frustrates me to see that. But I think there's just pockets. There's just pockets around the Central Coast. I mean, I think there's pockets of left and pockets of right, you know, extreme right. So both directions. So
do we sometimes get more conservative the older we get? Maybe our most liberal times are when we're very young, college age, and you know, more open. I don't know, but I do know people sometimes get more conservative when they get older, worry about house values, and I don't know.
Ernestine, I agree with you, and I see certain tendencies in my own personality to be more conservative, but things were so bad. I got so radicalized when I realized the truth of what was happening in our country when I was in college. And it's still I'm still radicalized because we're so far from any kind of justice.
Well, I think there's a big problem with the boomers. And a lot of it has to do with becoming more sedentary and not being aware of how things have changed from, say, the Walter Cronkite era, where objectivity and science and being rational were valued. And so they think that, channels like Fox are just 100% objective, like in the old days. And it's just, they become totally brainwashed. I know that happened to my parents, and they were not, they were a lot more liberal throughout my life than they ended up. They just didn't realize that they were watching something that was so heavily slanted.
Has
That was
COVID cut into any of that though? Because there's one thing of being brainwashed by the screen, but what about people's everyday lives and how COVID is impacting you? Have you had any conversations around that and how that may have shifted people's thoughts?
I don't want to talk too much, but it's limited in some ways. It's limited our ability to engage. We were doing a sacred ground home group here, and right off the bat, it picked up 21 people. Tanya was telecommuting in it before Zoom was a regular thing, but we had to stop. We had to close our house down, and we get a lot of stimulation, Lene and I do, from the different Zoom groups like this that we're in. But I didn't have the energy to try, and I'm ignorant of the Zoom technology, but I didn't have the energy to keep that group going. And that Sacred Ground group was headed for some real beautiful epiphanies.
On the other hand, it's connected us even more. And it's hard to analyze because the COVID is, it is at the same time as George Floyd, erupted a lot of stuff. And, but it's really, look, we have Ernie here and people from a variety of places, sometimes Canada or across the country. And so it's really helped us to be more connected and aware to other coalitions and other individuals.
I was just going to make one little observation. Hi, Rosie. It was good to see Efrain there for a second there. All right.
Hi, Efrain.
I was just going to mention that some media sounds more reasonable than others as far as news, but we have to remember they're all playing to their corporations, to their advertisers.
Yeah.
And so we're basically being presented with an idea of what's supposed to be normal and that kind of thing. The stuff on that a lot of people consider on the left is actually very centrist and very white supremacist. So it's nice to hear alternative voices sometimes weigh in, but you can get kicked out pretty fast if you break the rules. Mark Lamont Hill is an example of that. He's a professor, so it wasn't his day job, but he was one of the people that was frequently on CNN. And, he said some pro-Palestinian things 2 years ago, and they got rid of him. He hasn't been back. And yeah, so
Pastor, do you remember when Juan Williams got forced out of NPR? Because
Yeah.
it was sort of a similar issue, but I think it was backwards. I think there was some people didn't like the fact that he was at times objective toward more conservative stuff, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, you know, who knows the world that we should, this is why we meet, because we're meeting around the message of Jesus, which is, you know, it's not merely a Democrat kind of thing, you know, it is way deeper than that, more all encompassing. But anyway, that was just my 2 cents. I'm here to listen.
I was going to throw something in as well. Like, you know, when I first started coming to church, the thing that was so sort of groundbreaking for me was just getting to talk to people like Miss Ida and Miss Annie and hear like older experiences, like cultural experiences, things that I had absolutely no idea about. And that was really eye-opening for me. Just like about the Great Migration and their parents and their families' experiences like that. Yeah, that really was sort of profound because I had no idea.
So that ability to share ideas, right, which is exactly what we're trying to do here. So to give you another, I guess, vision of what this Green New Deal can look like, I'm going to play a video for you, and then would love to get your reactions. So I'm going to share my screen here. So this video is narrated by Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Never heard of her.
Let's see. There it goes.
The bullet train from New York to DC. It always brings me back to when I first started making this commute. In 2019, I was a freshman in the most diverse Congress in history. Up to that point, it was a critical time. I'll never forget the children in our community. They were so inspired to see this new class of politicians who reflected them, navigating the halls of power. It's often said, you can't be what you can't see. And for the first time, they saw themselves. I think there was something similar with the Green New Deal. We knew that we needed to save the planet and that we had all the technology to do it, but people were scared. They said it was too big, too fast, not practical. I think that's because they just couldn't picture it yet. Anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's start with how we got here. 1977, New York. A senior scientist named James Black made a presentation about how burning fossil fuels could eventually lead to global temperatures rising 4 or 5 degrees Fahrenheit. Within 2 years, one of the world's biggest supertankers was outfitted with a state-of-the-art lab to measure CO2 in the ocean, gathering more data about global warming. Guess who was doing all of this research? ExxonMobil, the oil and gas company. Oh yeah, Exxon knew this whole time, as did our politicians. 10 years later, James Hansen, NASA's top climate scientist, told Congress he was 99% certain that global warming was happening and caused by humans. That was 1988, the year before I was even born. So did Exxon listen to the science, including their own? Did they change business models, invest in renewables? No, the opposite. They knew and they doubled down. They and others spent millions setting up a network of lobby groups and think tanks to create doubt and denial about climate change. It was an effort designed to attack and dispute the very kind of science they themselves had been doing. And it worked. Politicians went to bat for fossil fuels, and these massive corporations kept digging and mining, drilling and fracking like there was no tomorrow. America became the biggest producer and consumer of oil in the world. Fossil fuel companies made hundreds of billions, while the public paid the lion's share to clean up their disasters. We lost a generation of time we'll never get back. Entire species will never get back. Natural wonders gone forever. And in 2017, Hurricane Maria destroyed the place where my family was from, Puerto Rico. It was like a climate bomb. It took as many American lives as 9/11. And in the next year, when I was elected to Congress, the world's leading climate scientists declared another emergency. They told us that we had 12 years left to cut our emissions in half, or hundreds of millions of people would be more likely to face food and water shortages, poverty, and death. 12 years to change everything. How we got around, how we fed ourselves, how we made our stuff, how we lived and worked, everything. The only way to do it was to transform our economy, which we already knew was broken, since the vast majority of wealth was going to just a small handful of people, and most folks were falling further and further behind. It was a true turning point. Lots of people gave up. They said we were doomed. But some of us remembered that as a nation, we'd been in peril before. The Great Depression, World War II. We knew from our history how to pull together to overcome impossible odds. And at the very least, we owed it to our children to try. The wave began when Democrats took back the House in 2018, and then the Senate and the White House in 2020, and launched the decade of the Green New Deal, a flurry of legislation that kicked off our social and ecological transformation to save the planet. It was the kind of swing-for-the-fence ambition we needed. Finally, we were entertaining solutions on the scale of the crises we faced without leaving anyone behind. That included Medicare for All, the most popular social program in American history. We also introduced the federal jobs guarantee, a public option including dignified living wages for work. Funnily enough, the biggest problem in those early years was a labor shortage. We were building a national smart grid, retrofitting every building in America, putting trains like this one all across the country. We needed more workers. That group of kids from my neighborhood were right in the middle of it all, especially this one girl, Ileana. Her first job out of college was with AmeriCorps Climate, restoring wetlands and bayous in coastal Louisiana. Most of her friends were in her union, including some oil workers in transition. They took apart old pipelines and got to work planting mangroves with the same salary and benefits. Of course, when it came to healing the land, we had huge gaps in our knowledge. Luckily, Indigenous communities offered generational expertise to help guide the way. Ileana got restless, tried her hand as a solar plant engineer for a while, but eventually made her career in raising the next generation as part of the Universal Child Care Initiative. As it turns out, caring for others is valuable, low-carbon work, and we started paying real money to folks like teachers, domestic workers, and home health aides. Those were years of massive change, and not all of it was good. When Hurricane Sheldon hit southern Florida, parts of Miami went underwater for the last time. But as we battled the floods, fires, and droughts, we knew how lucky we were to have started acting when we did. And we didn't just change the infrastructure, we changed how we did things. We became a society that was not only modern and wealthy, but dignified and humane too. By committing to universal rights like healthcare and meaningful work for all, we stopped being so scared of the future. We stopped being scared of each other, and we found our shared purpose. Ileana heard the call too, and in 2028, she ran for office in the first cycle of publicly funded election campaigns. And now she occupies the seat that I once held. I couldn't be more proud of her, a true child of the Green New Deal. When I think back to my first term in Congress, riding that old school Amtrak in 2019, all of this was still ahead of us. And the first big step was just closing our eyes and imagining it. We can be whatever we have the courage to see.
I love that quote. We can be whatever we have the courage to see. So with what you just saw, what comes to your mind when you think of terms like just transition and Green New Deal?
mean, I love it personally, but I feel sort of overwhelmed by the inertia that we see, and it seems like Sisyphus trying to push a boulder up a hill. But
Caroline, what are the parts of it that you loved?
I loved it. Now, this was her projection, right? This was her vision. I loved it when she talked about former oil workers being paid their same rate of pay to be working like dismantling pipelines and working in those projects to restore the wetlands. That to me was that's a pretty inspiring vision.
Also consulting with the Native Americans. But she has such a positive attitude, and it seems like when it comes to the Green New Deal, it seems like I hear so many people complaining about it and making fun of it.
Well, you know, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has been an inspiration to me, you know, for ever since I've heard about her. And you know, I watched the documentary, tearing down the house, burning down the house, whatever it is. And, you know, like Caroline was saying, there's a lot of inertia, and sometimes you do feel paralyzed. But I was thinking about just today, Cori Bush was appointed to the House Vice Chair of the Judiciary Committee on Crime, Terrorism, and Homeland Security. Now, here is a Ferguson activist, you know, who did more than march. She ran for office and she won, and now she's sitting on this committee. So it's a tiny step forward. But if we all take, you know, tiny steps forward, who knows what can come out of it?
I love that. Caroline, were you going to say something a little while ago?
I think I sort of like the realism of it. In a way, it feels very realistic. Everything that she describes, like it's plausible. It's not unreachable. It's just I don't know. So sometimes I think I paid too much attention to politics, and that sort of lessens my ability to believe. But
And that's part of the function of the media. They want you to be disillusioned. They want you to not have hope. So it's up to us to reinforce each other, right, and push each other to organize and fight for something better than what we have.
Is that a video that's been circulating on the internet?
Yeah, it's on YouTube. Let me tell you the title of it. It's called look up The Intercept, and I think it's Vision for Green New Deal, and you can find it.
Okay.
But I can also send the link if that's easier.
You know, Ana Rosa, I just hearing her age and realizing that she's about the age of my daughter, and also getting trapped in watching sometimes too much political stuff on YouTube. I can see how all of that can distract you from understanding, or keep a person ignorant from really understanding what we're doing to our environment. And I think there's too many young people who are distracted by so much on the internet that, maybe I don't know. I wonder if there's, any statistics on that, or how many young people like her are trying to make a change or make a difference in our environment. I know Greta Greenberg, but I'm encouraged by her age and how she sees through the media's covering of things and hiding it to so many of us, because there's too many of us that live in that kind of an ignorant state. So there's not a real evil to us. It's like with racism. I think there's a lot of people who are just ignorant of what other people are going through. They're not truly evil. they're just ignorant. So they can be brought out of that with the right, with the right teaching. But the evil, I think, it's on another level. It's just on a bigger level. And some of it, I think, comes through the media. Yeah, I'm encouraged by her age and what she's doing.
Yeah, and then part of the video, she says, we live in the vision that we are no longer afraid of each other. So how do we get to that stage, right? Not being afraid of each other. And I think somebody said it here, is that having conversations that we are able to have through Jesus Collective, right? And other spaces that we're in where we break down those barriers and interact with people of different backgrounds. Rosie, would you say something? Oh, sorry, Pastor Moore.
What if somebody in this group, like a dozen people agreed? What if somebody in this group, I just put a link to runforsomething.net. It's some activists that will, if you decide you're going to run for office, they'll get behind you and they'll give you some guidance. And so I was just thinking, what if one of us ran? I mean, what if, Michael was talking about Julia Brownlee. What if Michael primaried Julia Brownlee? Even if you didn't win, you'd push her. You know what I mean? You'd create an audience for things that maybe she takes for granted. So anyway, just throwing it out there.
Dr. Moore, yes, what you just said, yes. And I just think one group that Lynette and I particularly love could be such an asset to a candidate, and that is Surge. Surge Ventura County is just full of these minds like Tim Nossinger. He's one of the most brilliant young organizers ever. Just the people that are putting Nicolette, I forgot Nicolette's last name, but Walker. Some of these people are putting in more than 40 hours a week trying to make us sane,
Yeah, like Nicolette was all over Ventura today, taking down posters that said things like White Lives Matter and some very despicable things as well. And
but Surge and Cause,
yeah.
and Ana Rosa, I think you're connected with Cause. These groups, their backing of candidates, I just think it will go a long way.
And Cause has something called the Justice Leadership Institute for people who are interested in running for office. So part of what we talk about here, what we develop for the Green New Deal, is maybe expanding resources for institutes like that get grassroots leaders to run for office, right? What do we need for the Central Coast that could be part of a regional Green New Deal?
I couldn't hear that. It was kind of broken up. Or maybe it was just my Zoom.
I was just saying that maybe that could be part of the answer, right, of what we propose to be part of a regional Central Coast Green New Deal is expanding, sorry, my daughter's playing behind me, so that might also be affecting the sound. Giving resources to something like Justice Leadership Institute to be able to train people who want to run and actually have the best intentions for the community, because I think what ends up happening a lot is that the people who run for office are people who are very into their own ego and hearing their own name and not really running because they stand for anything, but just because that's kind of their career politicians, right?
Yeah.
Do we ever hear of anybody on the South Coast, Central Coast, talking about the new Green Deal besides, well, Ana Rosa and the people that she's around? Do we ever hear that?
Yeah, I hear from this one conservative friend of mine who I still love him. I really do. But he thinks it's Armageddon. He's so
right.
And he's not a mainstream thinker, okay? But yeah, some of the ultra conservatives are just mortified by the whole they can't enunciate Green New Deal without coming apart.
And there's even young people as well that there's some friends of Jesus and Jasmin's that I love them, like they're a part of my children as well, you know, and they work, you know, like in the oil rigs, and they have these positions that they're totally brainwashed. They have no clue of the history that you know, Exxon and all these other, you know, billionaire corporations you know, contributed to the demise of, you know, our planet, you know, not just locally and, you know, within our country, but throughout the world as well. Um, and so I think that, and I don't know what your age is, Ana Rosa, but I'm thinking you guys are like cohorts in age. Um, it I just feel like it's gonna take a lot of grassroots work, and not to say that it can't be done. Obviously it can. I like that presentation. I had seen it before myself, actually a few times, but and I should say not, but um, I feel like it's gonna be one of those things where, because of the whole COVID, you know, pandemic situation that we're in, and that students really are not on campus, you know, on the campuses, it's going to be so much more difficult to draw a lot of them out, you know, to partake like they otherwise would if it were a campus movement that then from the campus, you know, spilled out to the communities in terms of like door knocking and you know, community organizing and you know, basically things of those proven, you know, ways of reaching out, you know. um uh, I don't know, I'm thinking, you know, CBOs, you know, providing presentations,
You're breaking
Did you
up.
freeze,
you know,
Rosie?
and younger people, like, you know, high school, you know, yes.
Well, I'm
I don't know what happened.
I think you froze for a minute there.
Yeah, we might have lost her. I think she's still frozen.
Hmm.
well, while she's figuring that out, let me just say I'm ready to support somebody. I'm ready to, you know,
Who do you have in mind?
well, you know, it could be somebody from Surge, it could be someone else, I mean, from Cause or whatever. But I don't think there's enough conversation around the Green New Deal. And the Green New Deal represents some, just like Ana Rosa opened up talking about Black Lives Matter and equity. These things go together, and I I would I would I, I don't even know what that means, but I would help. I would support.
Pastor Rosa, Rosie mentioned a person who, you know, maybe works in the oil fields, a man or woman who works in the oil fields. And I could see maybe if they're a family, you know, man or woman, and that's how they support their, you know, that's how they support their life, their family. Because I know of one person who voted for Trump because of that. And I understand, like, where do I go to make this kind of money? And how do you even, well, Ana Rosa, how do you even address that to a person who feels like that? Like, it's a Green New Deal, you know, what are you talking about? I'm working in the oil fields making decent money.
Well, the main thing that I've been doing is so far what I have observed is like the labor community is on one side, at least on the Central Coast, and then the environmental community is on the other side. And part of it is because the labor community doesn't feel like environmentalists will stand up for living wage jobs, because there are a lot of privileged environmentalists who are very detached from what working class people go through. So I've been talking to environmentalists saying, yes, great, fight for green energy, but don't just fight for green energy, fight so that the jobs that are created by these green energy jobs are actually quality jobs that have living wages, that have healthcare benefits, that have pensions, so that it's not like, you know, people are feeling like they're going to have to give up their job for peanuts, right? So I think by building that solidarity between environmentalists and the labor community, that we're going to be able to get there.
Hasn't the cause group in Ventura and Santa Barbara been one of the most effective in terms of trying to mesh these two interests and get them seeing the mutual reciprocity?
Yes, I've definitely been working on this with cause.
Just one thing real quickly. It seems like we have a problem with educating people, because it seems to me so many people vote against their own economic interests. The number of poor white people that vote consistently to keep a Republican congressperson in, it doesn't make sense at all. And I don't know how to break through that.
What fuels that kind of ignorance, though? What fuels that?
Well, if you read Caste, she says that basically it just gets back to, well, at least they're still white.
That book is profound. I'm only on chapter 7 now. She does an incredible job of that, of exposing that, the depth, the permeation from before the Mayflower of that.
Yeah, and who started that whole thing? You know, taking pride in being white and everything. They were the wealthy, land-owning white men, and they just divided people up and made hierarchies out of all these categories that they'd artificially constructed, and they're still doing it today. So I point my finger up the wealth ladder.
But you know, again, we were talking about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and she, you know, she primaried a wealthy, well-connected white guy, older guy.
10-term guy, I think, wasn't he?
Yeah. And a very powerful second in line, I think, in the House among Democrats. So I'm just thinking, we need to have that kind of aggressiveness.
There's an echo, Pastor. There's an echo in your voice, for me at least. I don't know about anyone.
Hard to hear.
Okay. So we really, I think we need that kind of aggressiveness, where we recognize that something can be done, but it's not going to be done unless we do it.
We are the ones we've been waiting for.
So what level of politics of government are you talking about? I mean, school board isn't pretty good. So I mean, are you talking about somebody who, you know, would be a representative, or somebody who's a mayor of the? I mean, because I mean, this is a big. I mean, there's a lot to work on. So what would make what would be the most strategic, position to support somebody in?
You mean for us here in this area?
The person, I think some people see things that other people don't see, and that's what attracts them. And then the rest of us who may not see it as well as they see it, whether it's school board, or whether it's state
because
representative. But if we see if one of us sees it and we're going for it, then the rest of us can help.
And
We can
why
be
only
part of it.
one board? You know, it can be a myriad of them. That's what's needed right now, not just one. We can't be that narrow in our thought and work. It has to be
this one position's gonna fix
ever so, you know, broad. Hazmin said, you know, or even like, you know, token, like it's going to be just the one position. No, it has to be broader than that. It really does. Encourage, you know, as many individuals that like you're saying, you know, Pastor and everyone else, you know, like to go for it, you know, run and get behind and you know, do all that we can to get the word out and do the work.
Yeah, and I heard you say, Tanya, that school board won't make any difference, but I would beg to differ, because with school board, they decide on things like ethnic studies. They decide on things like adding environmental studies. So I would say school board is a great step for, especially if you're just entering politics, but there's all different levels. So I agree with Pastor Moore and what Rosie's saying, like we have to look at all of it.
Well, and I guess I was thinking of like somebody who is in favor of the Green New Deal. And I wasn't thinking a school board member would necessarily could have an impact on supporting
because
that.
they also decide on jobs, so they can also, you know, like in the video, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez mentioned that caring for others is valuable low carbon work. So why are we not valuing that work more and paying workers who do that kind of work more? So yeah, I mean, I would just say yes. Green New Deal can also have legs at the school board level. Green New Deal can have legs at the city council level, at the county level. We need everyone on board for this, because it is about changing everything.
Well, it seems,
yeah, exactly.
Like,
I'm sorry.
It seems like we're dealing with so many lies. Yeah, and we're dealing with this like sludge. These lies are like sludge. It's like we make a step and it's like we get stuck in this myriad, and it's like, it's, you know, it's just everywhere. And so it seems like, you know, education, as you say, education might be the smartest place to start, because people don't know. I mean, that's what I think a lot of us are doing here, is trying to, you know, learn. And so, I mean, I guess politically, I guess what you're saying then is politically, we have to have representation that considers that we need education for all of these things and pushes. I mean, do you see what I'm saying? It's like, it has to be totally grassroots.
What I was going to say is that even folks that are on the school board have a say with regards to if they're going to vote to have a transition from paying for a bunch of the budget that's used for the electric bill versus establishing solar paneling across campuses to reduce energy costs, and then have those resources go to things that are used for students or family programs or what have you. And so who's on the school board really does matter. It's like your brother was saying on Sunday or last week, the local institutions and local government is really what has an impact on folks' lives. And when you insert yourself and make it known that whether you have kids or not, whether you have children who are students in the academic system or not, as a taxpayer and as somebody who cares about what's going on in society, you have a say in what's going on in your community. And running for school board is really just one facet of how folks can begin to have an impact on their community, and even advocate for those who are not willing to put themselves out there like that.
You know, and another point about the school, I totally agree. And school board, one of the most overlooked things that the school board can do and does, they set the attendance areas for the schools within their districts. And I worked in a district for years that was very segregated strategically,
Right.
you know, and this, it's up to the school board to initiate that. Thank
You're right.
heavens right now, most of the local school districts and city council stuff are having they've divided into districts. But when I went to work for the Oxnard High School District in 1970, the school board was composed of 5 people, 5 white people from Camarillo.
Yeah, there you go.
At Oxnard School District.
Yeah, at Oxnard School District.
Oxnard High School District, yeah, because we were separate from, yeah.
No, but I mean, you know,
Yeah, so just the fact that we now have districts and in Ventura City Council. It's wonderful now. We are
This
having
person
a,
that Linnea was talking about, this person Linnea was talking about going around pulling down posters, flyers. Well, she sounds like she has a lot of energy. I wonder if she'd want to run.
you know
I'll
what?
ask her.
We could talk to her. She's bilingual. She's carries the torch for lots of social justice stuff. Nicolette Walker-Itza, ITZA is her full name. And well, she is, that's good, David. You know, we should start. She's in the Ventura chapter of Surge and in the leadership of it. So, you know what? We'll just start talking to her about that.
But yeah, and
You could tell her that there's a church that's looking for a candidate to support. She won't know that we're like a small church. You know? Yeah, we know a church, a whole church that's willing to support you.
Say the Jesus Collective. Sounds
We're not
really-
actually a church.
I think we all actually have pretty big networks, so don't
call us an entity. There's this entity. Don't even limit it
Entity
to.
wants to get behind it and run.
But there are actually several people that I would recommend that are in Surge that should run for office.
You know,
See,
it's funny
If
because
you found somebody, if you presented us, I think we would be interested in having them come on and be one of our speakers, one of our
Speakers,
presenters.
exactly.
oh, sure.
Yeah.
You're
Okay.
Dr. Moore, you're friends with Tim, aren't you?
Oh yeah.
Because he's a real driving force. You know, the sad thing is, when I think of these people, they're such effective social activists. They're so effective. It's almost like they would be nullified going into a legislature. And that's not entirely true, but boy.
Yeah, I get that, because some of us are not cut out to actually hold office the way that some people can. But look at AOC again. I mean, she's both. She's an activist and an office holder. So
Yep.
So I was just thinking about a different angle with this. What about having a group that lobbies some of our politicians instead of necessarily being them? I mean, we've got Steve Bennett that just got elected to the assembly. We got Monique Limon, who took over Hannah Beth Jackson's position. Of course, who's the congressional representative that took over for what was her name? The gal in Santa.
Lois Capps is.
Lois Capps, yeah.
Carbajal.
Carbajal. I mean, what if the Jesus Collective became a lobby?
We need a platform.
I'm just thinking of a different angle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. Let's put
We
Rosie.
can do both and.
Rosie's a good talker. She would be awesome.
Rosie could run for Congress. Caroline could run for mayor. You know.
Y'all are funny. Y'all are funny, but you know, Salud and I have a long track record back where I had to set that brother straight many back.
See what I mean? She's perfect for this.
No,
Go lobby.
no, because Things like that get super ugly really quick, and I love them, from a distance.
On a first name basis.
I have to honor what she's saying right now, because I had what is it? Oh, I felt convicted when I was demeaning some of our politicians in our country, and I thought, you know what? Even Brother Cornel West talks about these people like Brother Mitch McConnell and Brother so and so. I need to start doing that myself. It's hard. It's hard.
Work on that.
Oh, but right now, when she was saying that, I was like, ain't that the truth? We have our differences, but they're all our brothers and sisters. Oh, sometimes you want to shake them though.
I love my brother centrist salute.
We could all jump on the Amtrak and go up to Sacramento.
Some of the best experiences are those Sacramento lobbying trips.
I've always thought that Connie would be a great mayor or something. I don't know. She's just amazing to me.
Who?
Connie. Bailey.
Oh, yeah.
She might kill me, but
absolutely.
I still feel that way about her. I know she doesn't. She's like, oh, Shella. She's so busy, but I just think she would be awesome.
Well, she could be busy doing this.
Yeah, it's hard to forget all that other stuff.
Oh, you know what?
Especially if she knew she had a built-in, support.
Right.
I second the nomination.
Yes.
Just don't tell her I said anything about it. Because I've said it to her before, and she's like, too much.
See, Shella, this would be a good way to get her to be at all of our meetings again. Say, look, you're not here, and we got you running for Congress now.
That's how you get voluntold. I hear a lot of excitement about electoral politics. That's good. Anything else that's coming up for y'all?
Well, I think you guys convicted me when you told me, when you slapped me around for saying school boards aren't a good thing, but and you're absolutely right. You're absolutely 100% right. And I think the thing is, my thinking, what was that one day you preached about it? My thinking had to change, and my thinking has to go to, like, there's big things like being a senator, but then there's little things that we need to, and so, like these house meetings are a little thing, educating my neighbor is a little thing, like, and all of it's so important. So I need to kind of shift my thinking.
Absolutely. And you know what? That's Christ-like.
That's what, Rosie?
That is Christ-like, because it's like, I know when I pray, I always say, and this was brought to my attention by the Holy Spirit like several years ago, nothing is too insignificant of my asking for God, to help me with or through, because whatever it is that I care about, because he loves me, and that goes for every one of you and everyone, nothing is too insignificant and nothing is oh so great. It all matters to him because we matter to him. I just, wow, when that hit me like a ton of bricks, several years back, I was just like, wow, thank you, Jesus.
Rosie, Father Richard Rohr wrote a book, Everything Belongs.
Yeah.
Everything belongs. That's just what you said too.
Yeah. Wow. This is beautiful. And, we're not talking either ors. We're talking about everything. But, what Rosie was just saying about, thinking expansively, that's what I was trying to reference when I said that the news intake that we have is to condition us, because it's, the news is for the benefit of the corporations that they're playing to. So we have been, we get presented a grid for thinking, and you think within these lines, and and we call it left and right. But AOC, she's not even a Democrat, right? she's not even one of them. And I think that we need to look at things outside, beyond party lines, and beyond the limitations of party, and beyond the limitations of liberal and conservative, and just think around this expansiveness that Rosie's talking about, the love of God that just, is big enough to save us all.
Just a little bit of encouragement from history. I remember I was a senior in college, and one of the most powerful presidents ever, Lyndon Johnson, was forced to, in essence, step down, forced to not run for re-election as the incumbent, because so many Americans coalesced around our opposition to an immoral war.
Yeah.
Well, and it feels like we're definitely at a place now where it's like we're at a crossroads. And, which way are we going to go? Are we going to go, down that yucky path? Or are we going to, love our neighbors even when they, say stuff that makes us crazy? Like, let's recall Newsom. I'm going to go rip off that lawn sign. Jeez.
This feels like a prayer meeting.
Preach.
It does. I mean, just the atmosphere, the liberty.
You know what though? Real talk. Mm-hmm. How many of you had a marriage? I don't think they called it marriage equality, like maintain the family sort of sign 20 years ago on your lawn. How much of where we're at here and why we chose to partake in the loving group and collective that is the Jesus Collective is because our views have evolved over time. Mm-hmm. And so I hate to sound like that person that's like, well, God bless the adulterer. We need more adulterers in the kingdom of God, because somebody once told me that when I was dumping on somebody else. But it's so real though. Like, I just had a conversation with my mom about how it's never too late to get on our train, and it's really just more beneficial the sooner you do it. But sometimes we get off of a train and get on a more progressive one, or maybe progressive might be not the word that's used, but there's a transition that occurs in our lives. And so I hear you, because like I said, point my finger all kinds, but I try not to though. And so I just want to remind us of that, since we all do that agree before we join our meetings. True that.
Definitely, and I'm mindful of the time. I know that it's 8:30, and I don't want to start losing you all, because there are two very important questions that we have left. One is, how many of you would be willing to host your own house meeting if I help you? And the other one is, there's actually a post-meeting survey that I need you all to fill out too. So please don't leave without filling that out. But yeah, does anyone else want to host a house meeting?
After COVID, absolutely.
Oh, not even by Zoom? Because we're doing house meetings right now by
I'm so fatigued from what we're doing in Zoom, and I don't want to be copying out, but I don't know that I could that I could give enough energy to another Zoom format. But
and probably one reason you're feeling like that, Michael, and correct me if I'm wrong, is we're so close to being able to get together.
Could be.
That,
definitely could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, talk about yearning. Oh.
So while Ana Rosa mentioned that, she had two important questions, I just want everybody to notice, just in case you don't, maybe you're already aware of this, but at the bottom of your screen, it says reaction. And
yeah,
And if you know, like Ana Rosa asked a question, and if your response is yes, you can raise your hand to say me, that's me, you know?
Okay.
I mean, you can raise obviously we can see your hand this way, but just know, and also just moving forward, that when we have conversations, not everybody's comfortable jumping in, you know, not everybody feels like they're just not assertive enough to jump in. But like Diane, she's celebrating something. I don't know what that is, but
Is it on more?
she's got her fiesta thing going there.
Oh, here, like this. Look at, you push more right here. Oh, right here. I never knew that.
Oh, raise hand right there.
Oh,
There you go.
Ana Rosa?
we're practicing.
Yeah, but I wanted to
Oh,
say.
we're not on mute. My bad.
Oh, I'm sorry, my bad. Yeah. I didn't see what she did, but I wanted to say, Ana Rosa, I would like to talk with you about hosting a Zoom, even with my nieces and nephews, because there's un chingatal, and there's an age group, you know, and they have kids, and you know, a bunch of us are woke and a bunch of them are not. Exactly. And I think that, hey, that's a good place to begin. A lot of them already have, you know, like high school, you know, aged students, and some that have even just graduated high school and exactly, new voters. So I mean, that would be great, I think.
Ana Rosa, I would be willing to see what you have, just, but I probably wouldn't do it by myself. I have a couple of friends here in Orcutt that would be, I mean, that would probably give me more confidence to try something like this. So if you want to email me, like your material, like if I could, like, you know, it's kind of like when you sell Mary Kay, it's like everybody kind of hides when you
You took it there, Trisha. Oh my gosh.
I'm not asking you to buy anything. That's the thing. We're trying to build a just future for our kids and grandkids. So
right.
that's
Oh,
what
100%, 100%. Absolutely. But I mean, do you know what I mean?
didn't know
Like,
when she wanted us to start it.
so if you have something we could send to people and then they
Go
could
ahead and do it
respond,
now.
you know, that would be great.
Do we need to do this post-meeting survey before we leave, or can we send it in?
please do, because what happens is people have the best intentions of filling it out later, but somehow they forget. So please, it only should take you a couple minutes to fill
Okay.
out.
And where is that survey at?
I just put it in the chat.
Hi.
That daughter of yours, she is so wonderful
I
to,
saw it before. I don't see it
so
anymore.
patient to let us talk to you.
Look in chat.
What's her
where it
name?
says one step a la vez.
Oh, okay.
Ana Rosa, what's her daughter's name?
Her name is Gloria.
Gloria, you're awesome. You're an angel, letting your mom talk to us like this. Thank you so much. You're beautiful.
Hi, Gloria.
You are.
Haven't seen you in a while, Gloria. Oh, she probably doesn't recognize me without my hair.
Well, you're sitting in the dark too, so you look kind of scary.
All right, here we go.
There he is. Now you can see him. Pastor Moore.
So, Gloria, I'm the guy that has the big hair usually.
No.
I saw you 100 times.
She said she saw you 100 times.
I'm sorry, because I'm on my phone, and so I don't know, maybe Hasmin can help me do the survey, and maybe you can
Definitely
figure
harder on the phone.
Yeah, everything beyond the Zoom. Zoom is always easier on a tablet or
Yeah, it's harder on the phone.
computer or something.
Yeah.
And you know what?
I thought,
who doesn't even, like, who here doesn't even own a tablet?
oh, me.
Can I? No,
But I
because
don't.
you know what? If it's going to make it easier, I will get you a tablet.
No, no. You know, I have a laptop, and I think I'm so I don't know how to explain it. Like I'm so fried after being on my computer at work. I associate
Yeah.
my computer at home with work now. And
Yeah.
so as soon as I log off of it, being on the phone is like not being at work. I don't know. Does that make sense?
My experience is that younger people do everything on their phone, like
Yeah.
everything. So that's part of it too.
Oh yeah, Mama, you're so
I have
young.
to get a
I think I'm
laptop
right
soon,
in
too.
between. I've always tried to brush off the association with Gen
So Shella, you're the only one who
millennials
needs
with
a
millennials.
I'm
tablet.
planning
Because I
to, no,
wouldn't.
I'm planning to get a laptop soon. I don't want you to send me, I'll work on that. I'll get one, so.
Yeah,
And
not
folks-
to deny you of the blessing or anything like that. I just
That's me, is that?
I just don't want to take advantage.
No, but you know, I'm not talking about like a with those giant iPads that cost $1,000. I'm thinking
It's
of a
like,
Kindle,
hang on.
Kindle Fire.
I didn't say all that.
Yeah, Kindle Fire is like less than $100 or something like that.
That's so cool. Is that how much those things cost?
It has Elmo on it.
Oh, I love Elmo.
I'm just
You know, I
teasing.
saw a recent episode of Sesame Street and they had him looking older than what I remembered. And I was like, what happened?
How do we do the
Fire?
Oh, yeah, I'm trying to find, sorry, I'm distracted by our discussion. Chat, full scan. Oh, here, post meeting survey link. I'm sorry, I'll put ourselves on mute. I got it, I opened it.
Oh, okay.
A reminder that next week we hear from Ernie.
It's loading.
Yay!
Because I remember how important.
So is that everyone then? Rosie, Tanya,
Oh, sweet.
we'll do a Zoom one, Michael in person. Anyone else want to do either a Zoom one or in person one we're able to?
Zoom, it'd have to be.
Yeah, it would have to be Zoom.
I still can't pull it up.
Is there a way? Oh, you know what? I think I have an idea. So if I copy the link, then I should be able to open it outside. I don't know how to do it on your phone, Mama. Sure.
There it is.
I'm like, we're gonna figure this out. The survey is so important.
Absolutely.
Anytime I give a presentation, I'm like, please complete the survey.
Yeah, I remember every time too.
Do now. UCSB, their environmental studies department is chaired by Dr. David Pello. So he's really invested in this and he's getting his students to help us with the tabulation of the results from every house meeting, and they're going to come up with a report so that we're able to kind of present a proposal to both boards of supervisors, Santa Barbara and Ventura County supervisor, to come up with.
But it's so intersectional.
So that's where all this is going.
Like one of the best professors that I had was a head of the environmental studies department, but he was also a U.S. history professor, and he was also a professor of Native American studies.
Oh, who was that?
I don't want to say the wrong name, but it might be Wilson. I had him in my first summer when I was transitioning. How do I go back? When I was transitioning to UCSB. Where's the Zoom? Oh, meeting in progress. For history of California and then U.S. history class, just because I was trying to knock out units and understand the quarter system, which I would never change from now. And we're still stuck here on this page. And he was a great instructor. I don't know if that was his name, but he was one of a couple of instructors that had lined up the environmental studies department there at UCSB a few years prior to when I was there. How do we go back to the page? Hmm. Oh, wait. Dang it. I found it. Okay, here. Okay, so now what do I gotta do? Sorry, everybody. I saved the link and I shared it with myself. So I'll go back and confirm that I received it. I'm just having, I'm not the techie person here. Okay, now I got the link and then I can complete it and then I'll send it back to you and you can complete it too. Oh, perfect. And then that way we can keep being part of the Zoom meeting. So sorry, guys.
No problem.
So then I'll mute. I'm way less.
So has everybody, oops. Has everybody submitted? Everybody else?
Michael says yes. He got a thumbs up. Michael might be the only one.
Yeah, once you submit, go ahead and do your thumbs up.
Can't find it.
Ana Rosa, did you say something else to me?
Oh, just that I was just recognizing who finished.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So there was also a pre-meeting survey?
Yeah. So that's at the top of the chat.
I was having issues with my connection, so we logged in late.
Should we not do it if we didn't do the pre-meeting survey? Or do we have
No, that's fine. You can do both.
Do both or just the exit?
Yeah, Ana Rosa, you might need to put the pre-meeting survey in again.
Okay.
So then you're gonna have to do that again.
Okay. I have it here.
Okay, Hasmin's completing hers right.
No, I'm trying
Oh,
to-
she's trying to.
They're all doing theirs soon.
No, there's a lot of people that have already. This is the pre-meeting one. Oh shoot, where'd it go?
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you, everybody.
Good to see you. I enjoyed our discussion.
Michael, David,
Yeah.
I heard you say,
Oops, you just muted. You just muted, Ernie. Looks like it doesn't want you to unmute.
I'm on next Wednesday.
You heard what?
I heard you say I was on next Wednesday, but
Yeah.
but I didn't respond because I was on that. I was trying to fill out the post.
So just so you know, Ernie, on your screen, where you are, the rectangle where you are, there's if you move your cursor to the top right of your own rectangle, there's an ellipsis there, 3 dots, see it?
Yep.
And it should give you the option whenever you want to change your name.
I'm using other people's computers, so
Oh.
if I change my name, they might not like me.
Okay, I understand.
This is the third computer I'm trying out, so.
Okay. Well, this one has the best view. I'll say that.
Okay. Just call me any name.
And I'm a little bit stuck on the policies because on my phone, I'm not able to read the presentation. So I was kind of, what policies do I support? I'm kind of stuck right there. I don't know exactly what to put down for that.
Do you have questions about any of them?
Yeah, well, I guess it came up on your presentation, the policies that are there. I just needed to understand more because I'm sometimes busy listening for things and then I'm on my phone and I can't really read it that well. So can you help me with just an idea of some of the policies?
Sorry, I haven't done one of these since I've hosted all of the house meetings. I haven't actually done one of these myself. I do the host meeting survey, which is a little bit different. How is the question phrased?
It just says, what policies do you support for the Regional Green New Deal?
So yeah, that's up to you on what you want to put. It could be around green energy. It could be around just transition. It could be
transition. Okay, I like that. Okay, thank you, Rosa.
Thank you, Shella. And I think something that you all talked a lot about with electoral politics is also public. You didn't necessarily say it, but it sounded like you all would be supporting something like public campaign financing, so that it's not just based on like the way it is currently. You have to appeal to people to give you money to run for office. And so usually the deepest pockets are not necessarily the most ethical pockets. So that's why with public campaign finance reform, there would be an actual pot of money set aside for people to run for office instead of having to depend on, like oil companies or, folks who would want to sway them in a non-environmental friendly direction.
Ana Rosa, I was curious with you wearing your mask on in the house.
Oh, I'm not at the house, I'm at the office, but everyone's gone now. I just forgot I had it on.
Oh, okay.
I'm used to having it. Yeah, so there was another person in the office earlier.
Okay.
She's my assistant, so whenever there's anybody here other than me and my daughter, I always have a mask on.
Oh, of course, then that makes sense. I just thought, oh, she's at home. She's really mindful at home. Oh, it's okay. Well, we could still hear you. You were still clear enough. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
So I guess there's 3 of us left.
Yes. Any other questions, Shella or Hasmi?
Oh, no, I'm good. I'm just trying to finish it up.
Thank you for completing it. I really appreciate it.
A lot of work.
You're welcome. Thank you for presenting it. It was very helpful.
So when does your day end, Ana Rosa?
So after we're done, I'm going to fill out the host meeting survey and then I get to go home.
Okay, bless your heart. Well, how early does your day start then?
Today it started at 8 a.m. So I'm now in my 13th hour.
Oh, yeah, well, you look great.
Thanks.
Well, I know you're probably exhausted. You've been in meetings probably all day.
A little bit. Um, I feel like there were parts of the presentation that I missed that I should have talked about, but I'm so tired that I'm only able to retain a certain amount of information and the rest just kind of goes away after a while.
Well, we're all learning, so we didn't know it. We all think we got a full meeting. Yeah. You gave us everything that we thought we needed, so that was good. Mhm.
All right, Gloria. Oops. Gloria,
Oh yeah, Pastor Moore's calling you.
I'm just saying good night, Gloria.
Good night, Gloria.
Good night. Good night.
I love you. I love to see you bounce. I think that's just so wonderful.
We love you too.
I could can some of that energy.
She's still bouncing.
Mhm.
Like Tigger.
Yay. So well, that's good. Did you get to have her with you all day? Does that kind of how it works?
Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I tend to be the person that takes care of her.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
And then Tuesdays and Thursdays are the days that I get to concentrate on work, and my husband watches her those days.
Oh, that's nice. So she has the best care ever. Hmm.
We try.
Yeah, with daddy.
Very
Daddy and
patient with
mommy.
us,
Hmm.
letting us work. How have you both been? We haven't had a chance to catch up. I haven't brought you all tortas in a while. I'm sorry about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, good. I get my COVID vaccination tomorrow. For my first dose tomorrow. So I had therapy today. Mm.
Which one is it?
Oh, my vaccination is tomorrow. It's 3:15, I think.
Is
Tomorrow
it
after.
Pfizer or what's there's like 3 different options now.
Yeah, I talked to my therapist said probably Moderna because it's over at Goleta Valley Hospital, and he said he thinks that that's the one they're offering there because you just kind of have to have whatever's available.
Okay.
Well, I'm gonna let you all go. I hope
Okay.
I can hold everybody up. I'm gonna let you
No, no,
go.
It's okay. I thought I was the last one trying to
I
finish.
probably could have just left and then finished it on line, but anyway.
Well, she wanted us to finish it. Yeah.
All right.
I enjoy your company.
We're
Okay.
still trying to finish it too, trying to figure it out because we had to do the pre one first.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, everyone have a beautiful night. Thank you.
Okay.
You as well,
Take care,
Shella.
Shella.
God bless.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Pastor David, for being our facilitator.
My privilege.
And thank you, Ana Rosa.
Thank you, Ana Rosa, for the presentation. Sorry I didn't catch the beginning part, but your daughter is very precious back there.
I think you can go
And
back and look for it on
thank you,
Facebook.
Diane, for your love.
Yeah, I love
All
you.
right. See you all.
All right. Night, night.
Good night.
Bless
Good night,
you.
Hasmin.
Night.
Good night,
Night.
Rosie. Good night, Exam.
Hope
Good
you
night.
get some rest.
Good night.
Finish these.
Good
We're
night.
almost done.
Night, night.
Night.
Get some rest, Hasmin, if you can.
Oh.
Do you go home tonight, or will you stay here all night? See your mom.
No, I yeah, I go home.
Oh, okay. Well, that's. Well, I hope you can. We used to say, "Sleep tight, sleep tight." Yeah.
Amen.
It's your heart, but you're doing a great job.
Yes,
Thank
Doing
you.
a great job.
such a blessing.
Thank you.
There's wonderful blessings your way just because of what you do.
I see them every day, all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
What a blessing. to
Pastor Moore, was that intro okay? I know it was kind of short.
We didn't know how to do it.
What was that? What was okay?
I just they were
The
saying there.
introduction you asked me to do, I know it was kind of short, so I don't know if that was sufficient or not.
Oh, no, it was great. But one thing, I need you to make another one and say your name. You didn't mention who you were.
Oh, okay.
because hopefully there'll be new people that won't know you. So that would be good.
Mommy, why do microphone?
Although you look like one of my cousins when you, especially when you had your mask on and you could just see you from here up.
Oh, really?
I kept saying, "Oh my goodness, she looks so much like my cousin."
Oh, wow, that's cool.
I hope you can get some rest too, Rosie.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
We love you, Rosie.
Oh,
Rosie,
I love you guys more.
Rosie, what's your number? Can I ask you for your number? Is that okay?
805 574 9345.
5749345.
45.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for the presentation. Hola, Gloria.
Hello, bye-bye. Hello,
I
bye-bye.
think we're gonna sign off. When she starts doing this, this means she has reached her limit.
I did, yeah.
Oh no.
More chocolate bars.
Love y'all.
I did
All
my.
right.
Night,
You're-
baby. Aw. Okay, good night, all.
Oh yeah.
Good
Mil
night.
gracias.
So we
I
can
just need to
finish
do
your
my post.
now.
Okay.
I just need to do my post.
Okay, I think I can figure it out. And then, sorry.
No, don't. It's fine.
So you sent this, which one's free post. And then here's the link. I always tell people I'm like way less tech savvy than they probably think I am.
You know, I thought you were.
Like I know we'll figure it out, but I wish I just knew how to be like zoop, 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 zoop. And I feel like I'm slow motion. So you had to have created a pin last time, right?
Yeah.
So then enter that, and then this is the post survey. Okay. Yes. Papa, we are doing it. I love you guys so much. Pastor Diane and Pastor Moore signed off already?
Yeah.
Is Ana Rosa still there?
No, I
Yeah,
think-
she did too, huh? Because of her daughter.
Yeah.
Papa, are you relaxing? Do your legs need to be up higher?
Oh,
Renee did her eyebrows.
I didn't even notice.
It looked like it. That's why I told her, oh, did you do your eyebrows?
And what'd you say?
I did it myself. With the laser thing.
Yeah.
They were all like fresh.
Oops.
Would you benefit from a section? Or a treatment?
Mhm.
Huh? you get this after you left my house? What? This thing right here. This box. Huh? Box. What box? Right here. On the sofa. Oh, right after. Have you talked to Joaquin? Nope. You saw my text though? That when I went inside, I checked and he had said tomorrow. Yeah. And I was like, I thought they're trying something about the weekend or something or other, but nope. You did talk to him? Nope. Just whatever messages he sent. Said it just was like this, like out of nowhere. Hi, I hope you're doing well. Yeah, all is good. We're planning to what to make for dinner. Matt has some work interviews next week, so I'm going to be heading back tomorrow. I'm sorry, let me finish this. Oh. Papa, how's it going? It's going good? Are you trying to say fine? Fine, fine, fine. Pretty good, pretty good, pretty good. Like that? Pretty, 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 pretty good. Yeah? Right on. Okay, I did it. Did what? I finished it. Oh, the survey. My bad. That's why you're like, let me finish this shit. Yeah, I just. My bad. Fuck, it's like. I didn't realize that was homework. No shit. 2 tests. Exactly. Motherfucker. And then they were like, oh, well, we got here late. No, it's okay. Still do both. Exactly. I gotta play. Placa la chancleta. Oh, play the Placa la chancleta, mama. You want me to pull it up on my YouTube? I hope do so, please. Okay. I hope it's loud enough. Where's the speaker?